Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Game-Based Learning in the World Language Classroom. The why, what, and how. We're on section 3 of my book, The How. I'm Madame Sensei. I teach Spanish, French, and Japanese to high schoolers out here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. If you want to talk to me about games, help me tweak games, help me create new games, reach me at the Minecraft Education Ambassadors or the Minecraft Teachers Lounge, the Duolingo Educators Network, Roxem, or at studio-nemo.com. We're on chapter 21 of my book, and we're talking about how to leverage online games. And we've been talking about Quizlet, Blukit, I absolutely love Blukit, Duolingo, absolutely love Duolingo, and I want to go through some of the other ones that I'll throw into class. Okay, Minecraft, I've got a whole playlist about all the Minecraft stuff, so I'm not even going to talk about Minecraft right now. I'll talk about Peaksay. I love Peaksay so much. This really filled a hole for me during the pandemic because it was hard to get the students to talk and to pronounce things and everything. Peaksay is a listening conversation game, and it was originally part of Fluent Key and spun off of that. You can build conversations that your students listen to, and then your students play listening games to put the sentences in order. There's a straight pronunciation game if you'd like that. There's listening games, like many different levels of listening games, and I really like it a lot. Let me show you what it looks like inside. Okay, maybe I'll make a whole episode on it. So you've got basically your audiolingual skit. You'll have two characters talking, and you can either write the conversation or heck, there's a lot of conversations already there. I think I wrote 90% of the French stuff and 100% of the Japanese stuff up there, and there's a lot of Spanish stuff. So, go through and see if there's something already there. This was one I did. We were having a virtual field trip, and I was playing around with Speechify, that's what it is. And I didn't really like Speechify, so I was like, I'm going back to Peaksay to do that. So I needed airport dialogue. So I have the white zone and the red zone, and they're arguing about when the airplane's going to come and everything. So that was good. But anyway, the students listen to each of these, and then they have to predict what the next line is. So it's great. The same people who made Peaksay make Roxem, and Roxem is this really great music program. I'm going to make a whole video on Roxem, and I'll put Peaksay in too. I'll make a whole video on it, so I'll show you all the games that you can play with Roxem. Students can play the games independently, or you can play it whole class, and I really love to play things whole class. So there's at the moment, there's 2 whole class games, but I think there's another one on the way. And, music is nicely repetitious. The students are going to learn so many words in context and repeat those words over and over again. So, we'll talk about Roxem in a future video. Conjugamus is kind of fun. It's free, but only for 5 sets. So you can make 5 sets, and that's free. But you can track your students even with the free version. And there's other things you can search for. So you can see there's a lot of different games on Conjugamus. These ones here with this little symbol, these are games that your students can challenge each other to, and they can play one-on-one with those. These games without the symbol, the students have to play individually. Okay, but some of them are really good. But there's a lot of choices here. If you're just going to do straight conjugating, I think Dia de los Verbos is the best. And you can, it doesn't have to be Spanish. It's nice that it is Spanish, but, I also made a couple of these for my French classes, Some of these other ones are, crosswords. Yeah, you might have another crossword puzzle. Memory, you could probably do in Quizlet. I don't know. Those are fine, but the other ones, they're all really fun. Rice and Beans is pretty fun. There's this turtle one is pretty interesting. And of course, Battleship and Tug of War, Connect 4, those are good. I like to have my students playing with each other because then they can practice talking to each other. Here's Splatman, which is my favorite from Conjugamus. And what I do, since this one is only individual, students can only play it one at a time. I have all the students playing on their computer, and I play it myself in front of the students on the big board. But basically, you put in whatever you want your students to spell. And here I did a translation one where I've given them the top ER verbs and a want to make sure that the students know them. So this comes up, and then as the students type, the frog will jump across these things, but this stuff is falling down from the sky. So if you don't time your typing right, or if you stop and have to think about a letter, you're going to get hit by the falling piano or whatever. So that's pretty fun, and I challenge the students to beat my score. Pixton I've talked about in lots of other videos. I don't use Pixton quite so much anymore post-pandemic because frankly, it's much quicker to give the students blank paper and pencils and say, draw this out, than it is to say, take out your computers, boot them up, go here. And then the students kind of have to think too much about what pose they want and what objects they're putting in and everything. And then Pixton raised their prices from free to $100. And I honestly wasn't very happy with that. But Pixton was very good for what I used it for. So if you're interested in that, check out the Pixton videos. Let's talk about Roblox for a moment. There's a lot of people who make games on Roblox. Somebody will make a game where you have to choose the right path. You have to follow a verb conjugation or some such rule. I haven't played around too much with Roblox because my school district, of course, blocks it. My school district blocks all the good stuff. Like there's so many games I could use if my school district doesn't block it. And, sometimes I can make the case for why they should unblock it, but I haven't been able to successfully make the case for these two very popular games because there's a fear that students are going to be in math class and they're going to be actually secretly playing Fortnite. But one of these days, I'll convince IT to unlock it for me. I was going to talk a lot about Flipgrid, which then got renamed as Flip. But you know what? They just shut down and they've moved completely into Microsoft Teams. So I'll just briefly say that it was a video recording thing that you could send your students to record videos. And let's see if I have any other screenshots here that I was going to talk about. But like in the last week, they just announced they were shutting down. Yeah, so, the students would record their answer to, you'd make a question video and your students would record the answer to it and they could watch each other's videos and record those answers and stuff. But I don't know what it's going to look like inside Microsoft Teams yet. I haven't played with it. Escape rooms. Here I've got a picture of my Minecraft escape room because frankly nowadays I only do Minecraft escape rooms. But back in the day I would just search the internet and find escape rooms that were already existing and I would translate them to whatever target language, which was a lot of work. But most of them are text-based, and frankly, I don't really like the text-based escape rooms all that much. I'd rather have the students either getting up and moving around, going around the school when I can make that work, looking for the clues in the hallways of the school and maybe in a classroom of a colleague who's agreed to let my students come in, or, hiding the clues in my room. Or in Minecraft, yes, the students are sitting down, but they're all talking to each other about how to get out. So that's the way I really like to do escape rooms. But there are fun text-based escape rooms you could do. You can make a choose your own adventure with Microsoft Forms or Google Forms or probably with SurveyMonkey or any kind of online form. I'm not sure. Look for branching options. Okay, so this was one where I had the students, nobody's there, it's weird, you see a road, the road goes to the left or to the right, and then the students would choose if they were going to go left or right, or if they were just going to stay where they were because they were afraid, and then the next question after that would be following one of those branches. There's basically any game you want, you can turn into a great classroom activity. There was one year in Japanese class, we were playing Hatofuru Kareshi. This is a Heartful Pigeon Boyfriend. This is the craziest dating sim ever. This is the only dating sim I have ever seen with a boss battle. The premise is you're the last human survivor in a post-apocalyptic world. The birds have taken over, and you decide, it's time for me to rejoin society, so you enroll in high school. It's the craziest thing, but my students loved it. Because it's weird and it's memorable and everything, and we had some great discussions about it. Animal Crossing for my Japanese classes. Oh my God, we loved doing that back in the day when it was really hugely popular because the students were already playing it in English and they already knew all the animal types. And so when we played it in Japanese, whole class, I just projected it on the board and we'd talk about it and we'd play it and they'd make their decisions about what they were going to do. But they could pretty much tell what the characters were saying because they knew the personality types. So that gave them some good contextual information for what this character was saying and how they were saying it. And then with the 3DS, I know this is like dating me and everything, but with the 3DS, you could go to an island. And so I could teach my students how to interact with all the people over the world that they would be meeting on the island. I mean, like my French students would talk to people from France and from Belgium. My Japanese students would talk to people from Japan. This is before I taught Spanish. But it was like, wow, the world is so connected. I love this so much. So just basically, be clever. Think about what games your students are already playing. This is a really good game I want to give a shout out to. This is Redshift Education, and I'll put the link in the description. This is a Spanish role-playing game, and it's made by this wonderful lady named Maria. She's really great. This is a great game, but I teach Español Uno. I only teach Spanish 1, and at the moment, these games are way too advanced for Spanish 1, even with a lot of hand-holding. They're really heavy issues like ecology and fun one about during the quarantine and everything. But I find it takes a little, and they're one-person games, and for one-person games, it just takes a little too much hand-holding. If it was a whole class game, then there are supports I could put in very easily. But she's working on games for first level. So really excited to see where she goes with this because I think she's doing a great job with this. Oh man, I'm at 12 minutes. Sorry, I'm over the time. Last thing I'll talk about is back in the day, Duolingo used to have this wonderful forum where I got to talk to people from all over the world. And there was someone who was quite young. I don't know how old she was, because I didn't want to press for any information or anything, but she was obviously young. I could kind of tell by her language that she was a girl. But she was talking about that she went to this website called Polytripper, and she said, I'm not really good at making games, but I've made this game. Could you try it out? And I was like, wow, this is really great. You did a great job. And, she was just learning Spanish. So, we had a lot of good conversations about, okay, well, these are things you should work on and everything. But this was a really fun game where basically there's this bird here and there's this nest. And then the questions she asked were just, this was a really clever way to do it. And then every time you got it right, the bird would get a step closer to the nest until the bird was home. And so that really got me to thinking. And I was like, you know what? If your students are into coding, why not encourage them to code? It's like, hey, you really like coding. Do you want to make a Spanish game for the class? Do you want to make a French game for the class? I'll give you some extra points if you make a game that the whole class can play. I mean, that's so great. You're leaning into your students' passions. You're helping them practice with skills that they want to learn anyway. And you're getting something to use in your own class. I just think that's win, win, win. So I'll put that link in there too. All right. In my next episode, I'm going to talk deeply in depth about how I use Duolingo. Hope to see you there.